December 3rd is when we take a look at the fellow who will be remembered forever and ever, amen. John Wallis was born on December 3rd in 1616. He was the British mathematician who introduced the infinity symbol. You know, the lazy 8. You can type it on your keyboard by holding down the Alt key and typing the numbers 2, 3 and 6. Wallis did not invent the idea of infinity. It had been around a long time before he got here. The idea of infinity was originally known as the lemniscate, meaning ribbon, by the ancient Greek philosophers. The idea strives from the Ouroboros, an ancient symbol depicting a serpent biting its own tail. It represents the infinite immortality, continuity, self-fertilization, and eternal return. You know, what goes around comes around. Paraphrasing one of Wallis' difficult-to-read passages from one of his obscure books, on math and philosophy, the sword passes from hand to hand, and he who started the war knows not how it will end. You know, just because you started the war does not mean that you get to finish it. About education, he more clearly wrote, "It was always my affectation, even from a child, in all pieces of learning, or knowledge, not merely to learn by rote, which is soon forgotten, but to know the grounds, or reasons, of what I learn, to inform my judgment, as well as furnish my memory, and thereby, make a better impression on both." A few random and interesting facts about Wallis are: he discovered the concept of momentum conservation, and he coined the word momentum. He championed the use of algebra in mathematics, which is why reading old proofs written by the likes of Newton are more difficult because the proofs are written in geometrical terms, and not as we are accustomed today, in algebra. Wallis is the inventor of the number line, with the negative numbers being on the left, and the positive being on the right, and the zero, which is neither positive nor negative, but the dividing line between the two, and as I have already stated, he invented the infinity sign, or lazy 8. Wallis was part of a group interested in natural and experimental science, which kindled the fledgling embers of the Great Enlightenment period, that became the Freemasons and the Royal Society. Wallis, himself, was a founding member of the Royal Society and one of its first fellows. Wallis was the most influential English mathematician before Newton, to whom he passed the torch. Newton was but a boy, and an unknown, when he embarrassed several members of the Royal Society. They were working on solving a problem with the telescope, and Newton sent a letter that basically said, "I have already solved the problem years ago. Here are my notes." Few in the Royal Society believed that a lad could have solved the problem with which they struggled, and the president of the Royal Society set out to crush the revolutionary boy. This feud still echoes to this day, but more will be said about it another time. Encourage new thoughts.